Welcome back to Obscurus Gaming, and today I'm taking a look at Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus for the Nintendo Switch, a game I've backlogged to finish for almost a year now. If you remember, I put it in my top 10 games you may have missed in 2024, and I completely stand by that statement. So let's finally take a deeper look at Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus. You'll be playing as Bow, a celestial fox who is thrust into this world of Japanese folklore. You must use Bow's movement and attack abilities to survive and explore this rich universe. Speaking of which, this is a beautifully crafted, hand-drawn world full of impressive Japanese-inspired visuals. Everything from the monsters and NPCs to the scenery and environments are impressive, and a great homage to the folklore it's clearly drawing from. Seeing monsters crawl in the background as you jump and glide your way through cherry blossom trees just looks so good. Also, playing some on the Switch 2 looks just as good in handheld mode as it does in docked. In somewhat traditional metroidvania form, Bow is a bit limited to start, only having a couple basic jump abilities and a basic staff attack. But the catch to the gameplay here is the ability to reset your jump if you hit something in midair, whether it be an enemy or some other object. So in theory, you can continue to fly through the air as long as you keep attacking or hitting other things. It is something that takes time to practice and ups the difficulty of the game significantly, but when it clicks, it becomes this fluid system of movement that helps to make Bow unique. Now, Bow will upgrade their abilities too, leaning on additional moves like a ground pound and a reflection attack, all of which you will need to take on some of the more difficult bosses you come across. Besides your movement, Bow also has access to dolls, which act as a special ability that can be upgraded. These can be changed on the fly and can help you get out of tough situations. They are also tied to your tea kettle, which can be used to refill your health. Now, you will die a good bit in this game, especially early on, but with relatively frequent save points, most frustrations that start to creep in with the difficulty were mostly a skill issue for me. The combat and movement is snappy, so mastering the controls will be enough even if it takes some time. Outside of the gameplay, the universe of Bow is fantastic, taking you from lush forests to ice canyons and many more visually impressive locations. At the center of this is Sakuna City, where you will visit various shopkeepers, rebuild the town through the city's architect, or practice or purchase your new abilities. When you are not in the city, you are probably trying to tackle a quest of some sort, of which the game provides plenty of side and main quests to keep your interest. The lore created from these quests is decently deep, but also tongue-in-cheek at times, making for a nice balance of content without being more overwhelming than it needs to be. Now, when venturing outside of the city, most of these quests end in a boss fight of some sort, which was the biggest challenge of the game for me. I would often have to replay a boss fight a couple dozen times before eventually winning. Normally, I am not a fan of the heavy grinding combat in games like this, but it works quite well, and the various upgradable abilities and collectibles were enough to just get me across the finish line. Not to mention, all of the bosses are super interesting, visually cool, and ultimately really rewarding. In terms of other intangibles, Bow's art direction and music are both fantastic. Using many traditional Japanese instruments, the music sets a somewhat calming tone when you're exploring that quickly ramps up when needed, and also varied enough right up until the very end. Often the combat is too intense at times to really sit back and enjoy the music, but I would be hard pressed not to mention it here. Also, the game really tries to tie everything you can think of in terms of Japanese folk stories and creatures that I really came to appreciate this kind of weird world that the game creates. Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus is a great game, and something that unfortunately may have gotten lost in the ever-expanding metroidvania shuffle. While it doesn't transform this oversaturated genre per se, it has enough originality, depth, and style to move it towards the front of the pack. It scores a solid 90 for me. I also recommend picking up the Asia version of the game, which has a nice physical edition for not much at all. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.